Hi, hi everyone. Welcome back to week 13 of data journalism. Relatively light week this week. We're going to take a look at some mobile tools for creating data visualizations and just some fun mobile apps to create multimedia. If you've had my digital journalism class, you've seen some of these apps, but not all of them. You haven't seen the data ones. So if you could open up your week 13 folder and open up this mobile apps for journalists Google Doc. And the mobile tools for data journalists. It's a PDF of the presentation I'm about to show you. So just hit the pause button on this video, open up those two docs, and then I'll walk you through them. All right, welcome back. You should have these documents open now. This first one is just a simple Google Doc listing a bunch of different mobile apps and their descriptions underneath them. And I've got them broken down by, data viz and graphic building tools, which you'll see in just a minute. Video tools for shooting and editing video, audio, recording audio on your phone, and putting it in a good format that you can take and edit it. Twitter and social media tools, other tools for reporting, dictation tools, things like that. People always ask me about transcription tools. That's under audio. I highly recommend Otter, OTTER.ai. It's a good desktop and phone app for transcribing audio. Time-lapse video, all kinds of really cool stuff. And almost all of these apps are free. There are a few that maybe cost, anywhere from $1 to $10, but they're few and far between. Almost all of them are built for both platforms, iOS and Android. So regardless of what kind of phone you have, you'll have one that works for for these tools. And then I've got this PDF of our training today for data storytelling. So here it is. You can look through it if you want to, download it, keep it, whatever you want. You can download some of the apps or not download any of them if you like. So I'm going to play through it now, and then I'm going to show you a couple of examples of what you can do with some of the apps. So bear with me here. I'm just going to play through this slideshow. People always ask me, how do you build slideshows like this that are animated? This is actually a tool called Prezi, P-R-E-Z-I, Prezi.com. And they have a free version of it. They have a paid version of it. I think I pay about $14-15 a year for it. It works really well in that it's animated. It uses JavaScript to create motion. And it's got some cool templates too. For a mobile one, I've got these presented as little slides or little iPad templates. So you can do some different design stuff with it. Prezi, P-R-E-Z-I, and Beautiful.ai. Beautiful.ai is another really good presentation tool. It beats Google Slides and PowerPoint. So if you're looking for something new, this is a good tool for it. I always get people at conferences when I show something like this, they always ask me, how do you build that? And I'm like, it's easy. Prezi.com, Prezi.com. So we're going to look at graphics apps to start with, things to build charts, maps, locational tools, how to layer a single piece of data over a photo or over some type of graphic. We've been building charts and maps in here already, so some of this will be intuitive to you as we go along here. First app is one of my faves. It's called Chartistic. It's created by a company called Zoho. It's good for really quick and dirty charts with very small data sets and ones that you can either key in or load out of a spreadsheet very quickly. And this is an app on your phone or your iPad or a tablet is ideal for any of these apps because it's a little bigger. But if you have an iPhone 13, iPhone 10 even with the smaller screens, you can build a graphic very quickly in it. Now, it's not as sophisticated as using, Data Wrapper or Flourish or Venngage or one of those tools, but it does give you, a pretty decent little static chart. Here's one that I put in that was just really quick. I did have a budget put together, and this is I hate pie charts. You see the breakdown here. You can control the colors and the fonts and things like that. For the free version of this tool, it does give you a little ad in the little bottom right corner, a little watermark for Chartistic, which is made by Zoho. That's Zoho's logo. which is a little knockoff of Google's color scheme, I might point out. So again, if you need a static little graphic, maybe just share over social channels, and you need to turn it quickly on your phone, you don't have your laptop with you, this app is really good. Chartistic, it's called. A little more advanced version of Chartistic is this one called Icon Graph. It's built by Frosby Designs, which builds a lot of apps. It's free, and it does have upgrades in it. You always need to look for upsell in any app. You know, they'll give you certain features on the app for free, and then if you want more music or want more icons or something like that, they'll upsell you very quickly. And be careful of that upsell. So Icon Graph allows you to build charts and maps, various types of infographics, you know, single stat infographics, maybe a mini version of Venngage where it's just one stat and some information about that stat. It's really good, again, for quick sharing on mobile. You can actually animate these by kind of hitting a little play button and going through them. I'll show this little video. We'll see if the YouTube video will play video in video like this, but it'll walk you through some of what it can do here. So this is Icon Graph. And again, just for good, simple little charts. It's got some wonderful templates. I like this one, the breakdown of the burger. All different types of charts. You get a lot of control over colors and backgrounds and things like that. There's all the templates. It's very, you know, it's tap and go. You know, it's very WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get on the interface. Again, single stats to do charts, maps, and you can design little things in it like static infographics, you know, maybe a poster or something like that. You know, it's worth looking into. It's a pretty good little chart making tool. Here's an example of their interface where you can just go in and select your map. You know, it's good for, you know, it's not as sophisticated as Google Maps where you can do 1,000 pinpoints in it, but, you know, if you needed to mark a handful of places, you know, around the U.S. or around Chicago or around the world, it's good for that. And the infographic charts are really, you know, I think the best feature about it. And you can do little posters, things like that. This is kind of a more, I look at it as a more advanced version of Canva. I mean, Canva is doing a lot of really cool stuff now with video and things like that. I'm not down on the tool, but, you know, it's okay. Whereas these others can do much, much more. Photomap. This is another mapping tool that allows you a lot of different kind of templates with it. You can use it for you know, trips, things like that. It'll pull right from your camera roll. Over here on the right, you can kind of see, you know, the cameras. They come in through the camera roll. You can select it as long as you've got your Wi-Fi on. It'll geolocate it, so it'll drop the location of the photo in. And then you can pick from these different templates. You know, this one, apparently a guy, you know, went on a big vacation and dropped some examples in there. And then you can add little descriptions to them too that'll run underneath them. You can play and scroll through them, or it'll play as a little slideshow as well. And play as a map where you can just go around and tap on the map. So Photomap is a pretty good phone option to building a map over Google Maps. You know, Google My Maps does have a phone app. It's not very good. It'll pull from your Flickr and Instagrams, by the way, which is really cool, or from your camera roll, which is really nice. You just have to set it up beforehand here under settings. Pretty easy setup. But pretty cool little phone app, Photomapo. This one's a favorite. It's called the This app by Tin Rocket. Tin Rocket builds a lot of really cool apps. When you look up this in the App Store, type in THIS and then just look for this icon of the finger pointing down to the pinpoint. What this does is allows you to layer text over the top of a photo, and there are many apps that do that. You know, Adobe Spark Post, Over, many others. But this one specializes in directional arrows, so you can draw little arrows here. This is, you know, Wrigley Field when it was under construction. They were building the bar, the 1914 Club under the field, and you know the Hotel Zachary was just finishing up, and they were still building Lucky Strike and all that over here. So you can see the arrows that I drew in there, and I just tapped on the photo. I import the photo into this out of my camera roll, tap on it, choose what type of arrow I want. It's got several different types of directional arrows. It's got the arrow, it's got the pinpoint arrow, the pin arrow at the end. And you can go around and label things on the photo. It's very popular among the foodie crowd. They'll lay out all the ingredients on a table, shoot a picture of it, and then draw arrows describing each of the ingredients. Same with the bartending crowd. You can put out all the different types of liquor and arrows to it, and then go through how you want to make your drink. So it's good for attaching a little graphic to a social media post, or even embedding this into a story. It could be a really good visual breakdown and labeling of everything in that area. So it depends on what type of story you're working on. Could be very handy for that. Point Out is another app that allows you to add directional arrows. I don't like this one as much as this, but it's okay. It's got these like goofy little arrows that you can layer on there, or pointy fingers, the little hand fingers that used to be associated with a mouse. You can point something out. The one feature I like about this app is the magnification. If you load a photo in here and you put the magnifying glass over it, it'll sharpen that part of the photo and blur the rest out. So if you're really trying to focus on one thing in the photo, it'll allow you to do that. It's kind of a goofy effect, but it could be for certain types of stories and certain types of visuals an effective little tool. So again, that's Point Out. I prefer this, but Point Out's all right. Okay. Over. This one allows you to layer text over a photo. Canva will do this, Adobe Spark Post. This is good for single data point. If you have a photo of somebody getting a COVID vaccination in the arm, and you want to put the percentage of Chicagoans, 62%, the percentage of Chicagoans that have received both doses of a vaccine, you can layer that text over the top of the photo. It works really well too for little text cards. Maybe you're covering a speech and the speaker is up there talking. You snap a quick picture of them, and then you layer some text over the top of the photo and add in the quote of what they said. You'll see this a lot in Instagram stories. You can use Canva over Adobe Spark Post to create those little text cards for Instagram. In fact, Canva is really good for that because it has templates specifically for Instagram stories. Effect. This one you need to be careful with a little bit because of ethics. You don't want to distort the truth. But for certain types of photo illustrations or features, effect can be kind of cool. Obviously, you wouldn't take a news photograph, a protest photo, or a crime scene photo and apply these goofy effects to them. But if you're doing a story on a ballet dancer or a baseball pitcher, this motion one might be kind of cool. The movement reacting one, it's like almost like a time lapse image shot here. Or you can do sound reaction. If you're doing something maybe with music. It's a free app. There are others like it out on the market. I'll show you a couple of others. But I really like Effect. It's very simple to use, and again, you just pull straight from your camera roll, which is really, really nice. Some other ones, Afterlight is a very popular one. You can layer text in over an image. It gives you a lot of choices of different templates. People use these for not just for journalistic purposes, but for event invites and things like that. Huji, and this summer I started playing around 1967 too, which has some really cool things, features in it and different fonts and stuff. And you have a great control over these. You can pick the type of font, color with it, move it around on the screen, things like that. Really, really cool. Be sure to follow codes of ethics, SPJ or NPPA, which is National Press Photographers Association, guidelines on photo and video illustrations, especially if you're working with a breaking news photo. But a lot of what we work with in here has a little more of a feature twinge to it, or if it has news, it's pretty straightforward. It's a picture of the person getting the shot with the one piece of data with it. Again, we don't do a lot of effects with news photos. Canva, this is a popular one for creating kind of Venngage-like graphics. They now have a video feature in here. I'm just starting to play around with that. It's quite interesting. It's doing a lot of new things. It has a free app and a desktop tool as well as a phone app. It upcharges though big time. You can spend up to about $120 a year for various packages and templates and features. So Canva can get quite pricey. If you're ever interested in using it, I could probably give you my account login and you could use it. But you can do more than just these static infographics with it. You can do posters, logos, event flyers. A lot of student groups I know use this tool for event flyers. Resumes. I've seen students do visual resumes, much like the resume templates in Venngage. We'll do that as well. So that's Canva. A couple more here. The Adobe Spark Suite. Now this will run you about $10 unless they're running a special on it. I got it at a special price, $3.99 one time. The App Store had it on sale, so I'm like, oh, I'm all over that. The Adobe Spark Suite, Adobe, which makes Photoshop and Illustrator and Adobe Premiere, all these great desktop tools, also has a nice little suite of visual apps in the app stores. And it has 3 areas that you'd be interested in. Adobe Spark Post, which allows you to layer text over photos. Very cool little tool. Adobe Spark, but there are free things over and this that'll do the same thing. Adobe Spark Page, which allows you to build little visual stories, almost like a Tumblr, kind of a photo blog type thing. And then Adobe Spark Video, where you can layer text and video photos together and do a little video together and do a little slideshow that tells a story. And I'll show you an example of this in a little bit. Okay, very good purchase, well worth the $10. Skip Jimmy John's for a week or skip Starbucks for a week, and you got enough money to buy this suite. And trust me, you'll use it. My students in my digital reporting classes really love this app suite. Videoscribe, I've got a subscription to this, so if you ever need to use it, let me know. It allows you to build little whiteboard animations. I'll show you an example of one in a little bit. It's good for data storytelling. You may have seen these in week 1 when you looked at our policies and our standards, our guidelines page. We built some video scribes with that. And you can share quickly on social or YouTube with them. They tend to look like little cartoon panels. They can be really good for data storytelling. Glide Apps allows you to build a mobile app with nothing more than a spreadsheet. You can build maps with them. This example I have here is the SPJ Fellows of the Society. It's a spreadsheet of all their bios. And you can just tap on these and it works as a regular phone app. It doesn't go through the App Store. It's actually a website. It's a desktop app that you save to your home screen. But you can build it with just a spreadsheet. Spreadsheet has one column with Marty Barron's name, one with his bio, one with a link to his photo, and there you go. It's kind of like building in Google Flourish. You can see all the tools over here. I chose to list it as a list. There's all kinds of different templates and features over here you can set up. GlideApps.com. It's a desktop tool, but it allows you to build a mobile app in it. Just for fun, I want to show you a few multimedia ones. Some good 360 apps. Fuse, Google Street View, and Bubbly, Bubbli. Bubbly allows you to take your phone or iPad, hold it sideways, and paint up and down with it and kind of spin in a pirouette. It gives you a percentage at the bottom of the screen. It tells you how much of the screen you've captured. When it gets up around 99-100%, it'll start to stitch together that image, and it will email you a photo bubble when you're done. And I'll show you an example of a photo bubble in just a minute, what they look like. It gives you a nice 360 view of something. Another way to do it is in Google Street View app. This one, instead of painting up and down with your photo, you'll actually shoot at these little orange dots. It'll paint it around you in virtual reality, and you'll shoot pictures of the little dots, and then it'll stitch those pictures together into a photo bubble. Cool thing about Google Street View is once you make it public, it's private until you share it publicly, it becomes searchable in Google Maps, Google Earth, and just in regular Google. And you can get a lot of traffic very quickly. The Park at Wrigley, Gallagher Way, that little green area outside of Wrigley Field. My brother-in-law was working at Wrigley Field when they were remodeling it. His HVAC company was doing work on Wrigley. He called me and told me, he goes, they've opened the park early. Get down here. It was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I went down and shot the 360 on my phone Nobody was around. It wasn't supposed to open for another 3 hours. So I shot all the 360, published it, went home and had dinner that night, checked it around 9 o'clock, it had 11,000 views. By the next morning, it had 22,000 views. So you can get a lot of traffic very quickly to your street views if you're shooting something maybe that people don't have access to yet. Because a lot of people were searching for, they called it at the time Park at Wrigley. It's now Gallagher Way. Another good tool to shoot 360s, you can shoot outside or in with, outside meaning shooting out, or inside where you walk around a stable subject. Fuse will allow you to do that. Let's say you're in an art gallery and there's a cool statue. You can turn on the fuse link here, or button here, and just walk around the stationary image, and it'll give the reader the ability to swipe with their finger or their cursor and do a little 360 around it. Pretty cool. Videometer. This is a really cool one. It also syncs with GoPro cameras, which is kind of cool. But you can attach your phone to a tripod or something maybe that affixes to the handlebars on your bike, and you can layer in how fast you're going. This guy's on a motorcycle. He's going 117 miles per hour. I have a friend that's a skydiver. She uses this app with her GoPro camera that's attached to her helmet. And it shows you can do different settings over here. You can do location, where you're at, things like that. And she turns on the one that shows her altitude, her heart rate, and how fast she's moving, speed. So it shows how fast she's dropping to the earth, what altitude she's at, and her heart rate that just plays over this as she's hurtling through space, which is kind of cool. G-forces too, I think she turns that one on too. So Videometer, really cool tool. I use it some for locational. If you need to layer in where you're at on a video, and it's good for verifying a location of a video. Good little app for that. Again, your thoughts. If you have any cool apps, share them with me. Drop me a little note. Take my digital journalism class next fall, because we'll do a lot of work with mobile apps in there. And some examples. Here's an example of a bubbly. This was a student that went down to a church in Gary, Indiana that was in ruins. People from all over the world come to look at this church. It's really cool. And she just shot this really cool 360 of it. She shot all the way down to her feet here. Notice the people are stationary. This app isn't very good with like cars driving through it, because it'll cut, or someone running through it, it'll cut them in half. But anytime you have something interesting 360 around you, this is a cool app to use. Okay, here's another bubbly. This guy shot, they had this huge line of students at Notre Dame that were waiting for tickets. It's not the greatest 360, but you can kind of see the effect. This one was made with Storyline, but you could do this in Adobe Spark video to create a little slideshow. And all she did was put together a bunch of photos and videos together. She narrated it.
On Chartistic Library on February 5th, 2017. As you can see, the atrium on the first floor was completely opened up, and all of the construction barriers, walls, etc. have been cleared, and includes...
I'll skip ahead here. She's showing these different shots of the library. And this library had just been remodeled, and she got in before anybody else did.
She's 16.
Just kind of cool.
Showcase it, and it's really nice. Includes a lot of...
And just narrated it. She's not a broadcaster. She just did a quick and dirty video with it. Okay? So those are some of the things that you can do with some of these mobile apps. So let's look at your homework real quick, which is extremely light. All we need you to do is to go in and take a hard look at a video. So here's your mobile week this week. So to get ready for week 14, all you have to do is watch this little short, it's a very short video on using Photomap. And then we're going to go through it again in week 14, and you're going to do a little exercise that's due Friday, April 15th at noon on how to build Photomap. Okay. that's all I had for now. Take care.